Okay, we will call the meeting to order. Public hearing before the Sawyer County Board of Appeals is hereby called to order at 5 p.m. Sawyer County Courthouse in Hayward. Roll call on behalf of the board: Al Gerber, Laura Russ, Steve Kelsey, Dee Doblis, and Joe Barron. Okay, and from the zoning office, Jay and Kathy. Those persons, statement of board hearing and hearing procedure. Those persons desiring to give pertinent testimony will be afforded the opportunity to do so. As recognized by the chairman, that person shall clearly state their full name before giving testimony. Each hearing will follow this order: reading of the application, submission of the file to the board, applicants' statements and representations of evidence, testimony of those in support of the application, statements from persons in objection to the application, rebuttal as permitted by the board, and decision by the board. Orderly procedure requires that each side shall proceed without interruption by the other. All testimony will be addressed to the board and there will be no no questions or arguments between individuals. Any persons aggrieved by a decision of the board shall may appeal by the decision to the circuit court within 30 days of the date following the board's decision letter. The day following the signing of the board's decision letter is the first day of the 30-day appeal filing period. This public hearing has been published as a Class 2 notice in accordance with Chapter 985 Wisconsin statutes in the Sawyer County Record and Sawyer County Gazette on October 29th and November 5th. The public hearing will follow this order: approval of minutes, various applications, new business, and adjournment. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes of our previous meeting? Any noted changes or additions or deletions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Motion made, seconded. All those, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have one variance application this evening. This is in the town of Lenroot, applicant Timberline of Spooner Inc., care of Ann Peterson and Matthew Skostad. This is variance 25006, is located in the part of the southeast one quarter, the southwest one quarter, section 35, township 42 north, range 9 west, is as tax ID 18773. It is 0.43 total acres on residential recreational 1. Site address of 12141 N Wagner Circle. Application is for a detached single-story accessory structure in the form of a garage. Size to be as 24 feet by 24 feet. This would be as 27 by 27 with eaves, as requested as a reduced rear lot line setback of 10 feet. Variance is requested as the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 18.4, that for a reduced rear lot line setback, the required setback is 40. Again, they are requesting for a 10-foot setback. As part of my staff report, an on-site inspection was conducted by myself and Casey Mashevitz on September 2nd of 2025. At time of the on-site, proposed garage area was laid out on the property. The garage was set in the proposed location that would seek a 10-foot setback from the rear lot line when a 40-foot minimum setback is required. All other setbacks would be met. The garage was set in such a location that would meet the required water setbacks, but would still allow for a walking area between the house and the garage. Would also allow for additional parking area behind the house without blocking the driveway coming in. There's no other buildable area on the property that would meet all the required setbacks. A small hill in the northwest corner of the property may need to be slightly excavated into based upon on-site conditions to fit the proposed garage structure. As part of the motion by the town board, motion was approved. Gordon Christians, town chair, Michael Bandro, supervisor, Jason Schustrom, supervisor, Jack Schustrom, supervisor, Brent Danielson, supervisor. Approved 5-0. Approval reasons being that permitted use is not possible on the property without a variance approval. Circumstances are beyond control of the applicant and are unique to the property, not the applicant. Signed, Robert Uberhold, town clerk. There were 21 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. 0 additional comments were received. I did have one email communication from an individual that was, I guess, questioning some of the height limitations. And I have also talked with the applicant. We can certainly gain additional testimony from the applicant. But it was subject to a one-story garage. I believe in conversations with the applicant, they would also further like to set that the garage not to exceed 16 feet in height. They were still working between what they were going to do for sidewall heights and roof pitch. But again, is to showcase that this isn't going to have additional storage truss or attic truss or, 16-foot high sidewalls for a camper. So 16-foot max height would also be implemented as part of a recommended condition by myself. That's all.
Okay. Any questions? Are the applicants or someone here to represent them? You step to the microphone and state your name.
My name is Ann Peterson and I represent and own Timberline of Spooner.
Okay. Is there any additional testimony or information you'd like to present at this point?
No, I think Jay said it very directly and well, I don't have anything to add.
Would you also make the further clarification that you would propose or also self-condition that the garage would be less than 16 feet in height from grade to peak?
Yes, that would not be a problem. That was not something I was aware of putting in writing when I applied on the application. I had just put the footprint size and that it was one story. It didn't occur to me to think of the height, but if that's an issue, then we certainly that would be no problem to put that condition on there for overall height to be maximum of 16. Because I think that would still allow to have like either a 9-foot or a 10-foot, sidewall and still have a decent sized peak without it looking strange or flat.
Good. When I was looking through the application, I thought I saw somewhere that there was a compliant area on site.
Not on this lot.
Me.
The applicant does own an adjacent separate parcel of land. But at this point, they're wanting to keep it as a separate vacant parcel, as there is a proposed, or at least there's a potential buildable area on the adjacent lot to the east. But on this lot in particular, and I have it up on the screen as well as my laptop, when we measure the 75-foot water setbacks as well as the 40-foot rear lot line setbacks, they actually overlap on this parcel. This is showing a 10-foot rear lot line. This is showing the 75-foot water setback. So if you would add another 30 feet onto this, they would actually, slightly overlap. So there is no other compliant location on this parcel.
And the existing dwelling would be removed,
No, the existing dwelling would stay.
but be converted,
To what?
a garage?
No, the
There's
existing.
no garage there. They're wanting.
Yeah, there's no, right now, it's just the parcel of land with one home on it, one small home. I forget the size, but it's like basically a very small cabin on it. That's about 1,000 square feet. The footprint, and what we're looking to do is add a detached garage to that parcel of land. But that home would stay, that cabin would stay where it's at. It would just get a detached garage so that there was some place to park in the winter and some storage because the cabin is so small.
Are you thinking of a different property?
I wonder if my business.
Because there
is the
was
right
one
site.
that we did end up withdrawing from tonight's application, is to be heard in December. That one is out on Lake Hayward.
Okay, all right.
That one does have two kind of existing. little
I'm overlapping
cabins on
them,
it. Yep.
overlapping them, sorry.
No, what would stay would be fine. Town of Lenret asked also about another spot, but where the given septic is at and where the LP tank is at and where the well is at, and then with all the setbacks, this would be the least intrusive place to put it. And the only variance that would be needed is to reduce that rear lot line, and that the lot that it adjoins to, that on the rear side is basically a big gully that, may or may not be buildable, but it's not built on right now. So I don't foresee that it would be any, I mean, someone across the bay is gonna be able to see it, but that next door neighbor won't even be able to see it because of the backside of it. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know who had gone out there, but yeah, the parcel to the north, there's a very large depression on that. In that parcel immediately to the north, the one that's seeking the reduced rear lot line setback is yet to be determined if it's buildable. I do think that there's probably a wetland complex. I mean, it's probably a 20-foot drop down to that depression for those that have been on site there. Yeah, you got the wrong one.
Yep, I did.
That's the wrong packet. Okay. Yeah, this one.
Yep.
That's for next month.
Okay, any additional testimony you would like to provide or information? No?
Not that I can think of. I think we provided all the information that we had.
Okay. Anybody have any questions of the applicant?
Yeah.
Not that this is relevant, but do you use this as a rental, a short-term rental, or is this your cabin?
I do not use it as a rental. It's a cabin that we own.
Okay.
Okay, if you don't have any additional information. Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to give testimony in favor of the application? Okay. Anyone to give testimony in opposition to the application? Hearing none, there's no one online, is there? Oh, okay. Discussion by the board.
The location that they're proposing will be very unintrusive on anybody in that neighborhood.
Right.
It's against the hill, there's the contours Jay was talking about. In some ways it'll be more attractive than what's across the bay, which is highly built right on the shoreline. This is, I don't see there is an adverse impact on the neighborhood at all.
No, and it's a decent size. You're not gonna have a whole lot of area between the cabin and the garage, if I was looking at it properly where it's staked. So it's not, you're not. I think you're doing the best thing you can do with what you've got after looking at it today. And I did tour Wagner Circle a couple of times looking for it. So.
I had a full tour.
Well, me too.
To me, it seems like a reasonable request. I do recall approving a garage in the winter area that was requesting a 10-foot setback on 40. This actually seems like a better fit than that one even. They could get away with a 10-foot wall and a 6-12 pitch and still be under the 60 feet as far as the height of the buildings. So. And it looks like the neighbors are actually above where this garage would be built, so it wouldn't be any
Sightline is.
yeah, no sightline issues. Supporting this.
Okay.
The blue flags, I guess I should have asked when you were at the podium. The blue flags that said 35-foot buffer, were they just used to mark the location of the garage?
Yeah, those are the only ones
I wondered.
I had available at that time. Yeah.
Base flag, really cool.
Yeah.
Let's make it further for us.
Yeah, I kept thinking, buffer from what?
Should have taken a Sharpie and just kind of Xed it out. It's just a flag to show that we kind of plotted it out on the parcel there.
If there's no additional discussion of the board, does anyone care to make a motion either in favor or in opposition to the request?
I would make a motion to approve the request.
With
With
Jay's,
stipulation. that the
16.
Max height at the peak be 16 feet.
Peak to grade.
Peak to grade would be 16 feet. The dimensions that were requested, no larger. Not to be used as any living space in the future.
I would second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any, we do the findings of fact now?
Well, you got that, Laura.
As part of the staff report for the board decision checklist is the approval reasons. You can actually use those.
My glasses.
Oh, aren't you clever?
Yeah, there, glasses from every corner.
Garage, so having a garage would be one of them.
Yeah, and there are unique limitations on the property.
Yeah, some of the possible ones I have on there, and again, you can kind of reiterate these if that's part of your motion, that no alternative exists, no other alternative area exists. It's a minimum relaxation of the code is being granted. Permitted use is not possible on the property without a variance approval. A permitted use being as an accessory structure on a residential parcel. The circumstances are beyond control of the applicant and are unique to the property, not the applicant.
I would agree to all of those for the record. I don't have my.
Hello, okay. The motion is made and seconded, approve the application. All those in favor of the motion as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll post same sign. Let the record reflect that the application is approved by a vote of 5-1. Thank you.
5-0.
Hmm?
5-0.
5-0. Yep. Thank you. All right, approval of the meeting dates for 2026. The March one would be a conflict for me, but all the other ones are fine. Okay, so that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this board has the ability to change or amend to whatever dates they want. We just need an approval for that. So for those that are, unfamiliar with the process, applications for variances are due the 15th of every month for hearings 2 months in the future. So we have not received any variance applications for November, which would be for hearings in January, yet to be determined if we would have any potential hearings in March. I guess we technically would have 2 months still before those applications would need to be submitted. But no one's, mentioned or reached out to me that they are, looking at potential variances as of right now, but
Yeah, if I could come up.
if the board is worried about their chair not being present for the March meeting, you should change it. If not, and roll the dice and Laura acts as chair.
I think this board should be very worried about that situation.
Yeah, when I just no show. I've done that. But and you called and gave me hell that night. I think you were.
Would you,
Likely.
would you be available the 24th?
Yep.
Do we want to just tentatively change it to the 24th of March then for the potential BoA meeting date? That'd be the fourth
Me also.
Tuesday of the month. Yeah.
The other one that we'd be taking a chance on would be April 21st, because that's when the county board will meet here at 6. We would be able, if we had cases, because we just finished with February. So if we had cases, we could move to the assembly room though,
Mhm. And which we've done before and hasn't
which
been.
we've done before.
It hasn't
Yep.
been any.
So if you don't want to move that date, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a chance, depending on what the variance case is, I would still be available. I mean, we start at 5, county board won't start till 6:30, so. Yeah, I'm fine with keeping the 21st, to be honest.
Okay. So all good, except for March.
Should we approve that change now and then,
Yeah, we'd want to get these,
because
because we need to have these be posted on the county's website of the meeting dates prior to January 1. So I would almost look that you would actually do your action tonight to approve the 2026 dates. And really, you could say to be the third Tuesday of every month minus March would be moving to the fourth Tuesday. And then Kathy will post those onto the county's website to indicate when those meeting dates will be.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the calendar as presented with the meetings being the third Tuesday of each month, with the exception of March, to be moved to the 24th.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion as presented, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion approved, a vote of 5-0. All right. That's that.
Yeah, as far as other new business, the only other thing, last meeting we talked about, where is that appeals process, the one that, went to circuit court, they are still through scheduling. They had an initial scheduling conference a few weeks ago. That is where that specialized legal counsel for the BoA, which his name is Steve Sorensen, was here. He is representing you, the BoA, through circuit court. The next meeting is sometime in December, but from whatever I've seen, attorneys in circuit court, they schedule and eventually something comes about. So I have no additional new information. I was asked to turn over all files from the BoA's, basically a transcript of the BoA's meeting to the circuit court. But that's all the info that I know at this point, so.
And then the application that was pulled from tonight's agenda, do we save that information?
You,
Is it good or is it going to change?
Garbage.
Yeah, it'll be, so they are still requesting a variance, but it'll be a different request
Okay.
for the variance of what the actual section of the code will be for. It's a very interesting one, and I'll get more into it next month at that meeting, but they're still on for December, but it's a slightly different request, because initially we tried to do this kind of like conversion, that they were gonna convert this office building into a dwelling, where we don't really have ordinances that allow for that type of conversion. However, at that same time, and in conversations with DNR and conversations with your legal counsel, originally TJ Duffy, we actually found a permit back from 1998 that permitted that office building as a second primary dwelling on the lot. So what the request is going to be for now is for a reduced water setback to enclose an 8x24 lean-to. And then if that's approved, they would rebuild that footprint and vertically expand the office building as one of the primary dwellings, and then eliminate the other primary dwelling, which would have been that other existing cabin. So it's not this conversion, accessory structure, vertical expansion. It's really, we actually have two primaries on this lot, and he's requesting for an 8x24 reduced water setback variance. And the DNR was basically saying that's the route that actually makes sense per ordinance, and as well as your counsel, that I had talked to TJ Duffy on this.
All right.
so we're on for a December
Yeah,
meeting.
we actually, and then we have two variances. There is another one as well, a reduced wetland setback variance for a garage as
So
well.
hang on to this one, and you'll be providing a. Oh.
Yeah, I would almost get rid of it, because the staff report is gonna slightly change, as well as what
Right.
the true requested info of the variance is for on that one, so. I'll rebrief you and re-summarize that next one.
All right, good enough. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Second?
Okay.
There won't be any opposition. 5-0. We're adjourned.